So I have the honor to introduce our afternoon keynote, Joe Kiani. First of all, he's a SDSU alumni, so that's a great coincidence. So Joe founded Masimo, a global medical technology company, in 1989. He served as the chairman and CEO of that company for 30 plus years. It's a long bio. I'm going to read the whole thing so you know how the contribution Joe has done. Kiani's desire to develop medical technology that improves patient care and diseases, decreases medical errors, led him to co-invent what is known as modern pulse oximetry. His innovation overcame a problem the industry deemed unsolvable. Traditional pulse oximetry's unreliability during patient motion and low perfusion. Masimo's signal extraction technology helped to reduce false alarms by 95% and fundamentally improve the reliability of the fifth vital sign. Kiani grew Masimo from a garage startup into a successful publicly traded company that employs more than 8,000 people globally. He and his team have over 600 patents. And they have introduced many firsts in non-invasive monitoring, hospital automation, connectivity, and telehealth. Kiani is also the founder of the Patient Safety Movement Foundation, a nonprofit that works towards eliminating deaths from preventable medical conditions around the world. In 2021, President Joe Biden appointed Kiani to the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. It's my honor to welcome Joe to the stage. Please put your hands together.
Hi, everybody. How are you all doing? Well, thank you all for joining. I want to thank TechCon, Faisal, Amit for inviting me here. It's great to be with you. This is where I went to school. So I want to thank SDSU for hosting TechCon here. SDSU is where I got my electrical engineering degree back in 1987, where I learned about adaptive filters, AI, which has become quite popular these days. And truly, what I learned here is what helped me create what I created. I have to say that as I've been thinking about coming and speaking with you today, I really have come up with the conclusion that the best way to put it is you have to choose things in your life that will elate your heart and satisfy your mind. So things that will elate your heart, satisfy your mind, things that will advance science, create new products and services that will help humanity and will help us all get to a better place. And you got to do it with your guiding principles in mind, because the journey is what you get out of it. And if you haven't done it the right way, you will regret it. I like to tell you about the last 35 years of my life, and I like to believe I did it by what I'm telling you you should do. I did it by a strong set of guiding principles and following them. I did it by advancing science. We invented the measured through motion pulse oximetry, and the invention wasn't just it. We were meticulous about the way we developed our products, and along the way we raised $100 million, which, as you know, is not easy. But you know, the technology we invented saved over 2,000 babies' eyesights every year. In the neonatal ICU, before Masimo's measured through motion pulse oximetry, not only 12% of the babies were having retinopathy of prematurity, but 2,000 a year were going blind. We virtually eliminated that now for about 20 years. Thank you. We help detect critical congenital heart disease in so-called healthy newborns. About 1% of the babies are born with CCHD, and it's mistaken for a fever. The baby dies. But if you can detect it, you can fix the heart before the baby leaves the hospital. Our technology helps save lives in the post-surgical ward of patients that are on opioids. Thousands of patients every year were found dead in bed because in between the nurse's visit every 2 to 3 hours, they would die. They'd stop breathing because, as you know, opioids gets rid of pain, but guess what pain it gets rid of that stops your breathing? That pain you feel when carbon dioxide builds in your lungs. That is the response we look for to breathe. And opioids kills that response. So thousands of people used to die in the post-surgical wards, and we virtually eliminated that. And you know, along the way, we had this incredible mission from day one to improve lives, improve patient outcome, and reduce cost of care. And there were people that didn't like our mission. They didn't believe in our mission. There were people that tried to bully us, and we made it despite that. We persevered. We changed the system. There still are out there, but they don't have as much teeth as they used to. A group of people called group purchasing organizations. Any of you familiar with them? Middlemen between suppliers and hospitals. And instead of negotiating for the best products at the lowest prices, they were negotiating for whatever made them more money, because they got a percentage of the revenue. And instead of 2 to 3%, they were charging sometimes 10%, 15% of revenues from dominant suppliers who wanted to keep competition at bay. Our story, thanks to the New York Times, Walt Bogdanich, changed all that. We had 4 Senate hearings, we testified at the first one, and not only it opened the market for Massimo, we opened up the market for many other startups, many other wonderful technologies that got access to the healthcare system. We had to go up against an 800-pound gorilla. A company called Nelcor had 90% market share, 90%. They had the whole ecosystem tied up. Not that different from Apple today or others. And not only we defeated them in the IP lawsuit and stopped them from using our IP, we defeated Philips, who infringed our IP. And Apple. We're the first and only company to this date to enjoin Apple. And as you know, we were not the only victim of Apple. Apple has done this to many companies. They like something, they take it. They call it efficient infringement. That's what they coined it. Efficient infringement. It's better for their shareholders to infringe and have to litigate and potentially pay out than if they actually went and did a deal with a company, a good deal for both companies. But it's really predatory infringement. That's what they're doing. So we stood up to all of that. And, you know, I had one last act I was trying to do before leaving Massimo. I was hoping to take medical grade, or even better, Massimo grade technology to consumers so that people with chronic illnesses, people that wanted to be in better health, could get real products, not toys. But I didn't get to finish that. Not yet, at least. Hopefully I still will. Maybe at Willow, where I am now, starting all over again. I think at Willow we are where I was in 1998 at Massimo. So we have a long road ahead of us. But I'm excited. At Willow, we're hoping to revolutionize diabetes care and hopefully consumer care, consumer health. You know, right before we went public, I had a really rare opportunity. I want to tell you the story right when we beat Nelcor after 7 years of litigation, all the way through jury trial, post-judgment motions, appellate court. As they were facing an injunction, they finally settled with us. And we got a $330 million wire. And I had raised about $100 million to that date. And all of our investors had this mandatory redemption. I think you're familiar with that clause in your term sheets and agreements with venture capitalists. And literally a month later, that mandatory redemption was due. And I had a lot of friends, and even one of our early investors implore me to take the money we got and buy them out. Because we could have bought them out with 10% interest over the years. And they told me, Joe, it's going to mean $500 million to you. They told me, you don't have to go public if you do this. But I knew it wasn't the right thing to do. I know those patient investors who had invested in us for over a decade. They were hoping one day we do make it, one day we do go public. And they can make a lot of money for some of the money they've lost in other companies that invested in. So we did the right thing. We dividended out the $330 million, not just to our shareholders, but every employee for their options as though they had converted them to shares. I remember walking in at a meeting one day, surprised the whole team with a suitcase full of checks. I think it was like $35 million. And we handed it out to everybody. And then a year later, we went public. That was in 2007, we went public. I know some of you might be thinking here, given what I've gone through the last 2 years with how things ended September 19th, if I regret it going public. And I don't. I don't, because every step I took, I elated my heart and I satisfied my mind. And if I was going public today, I'd probably have 2 classes of shares, so I recommend that highly. Had I been given the chance to finish what I was trying to finish this last chapter, I think our shareholders would have done a lot better. Maybe they'd be sitting at $1,000 a share not too long from now. But that's besides the point. The point is, you all have an interesting opportunity. I know I'm talking to fellow entrepreneurs, those who support entrepreneurs. You know, at the end of the day, we have been given this incredible opportunity to make a difference, to help people, to make great products, make great services. And that's what you got to do. And along the way, what happens, happens. And hopefully, as I do Willow now, I won't make the same mistakes again. I'm sure I'll make some new ones. But, you know, I will do my best to help people with diabetes. I'll do my best to help people not get diabetes. We haven't yet announced all of our products, but very shortly we're going to launch a new which I think will be a beneficial product for many, many people. You know, we made our early investors 1,000 times return. And the people in the IPO 10 to 20 times return. And one of the things that I really want to just tell you, if you can keep your guiding principles, and I don't know if you've all sat down and written them down, but write down your guiding principles, what you believe in, how you want to conduct yourself. So that 35 years from now, like I'm facing, no matter what you've accomplished or you haven't, you can look at yourself in the mirror and be happy the way you did it. I believe if you do the right thing, and I've been a beneficiary of that for the last 35 years, better things happen for you. Doesn't mean the road is easy. In fact, the road is a lot harder. But good things happen if you do things the right way. And if there was a few takeaways from my journey, one would be surround yourself with people better than yourself. I've been fortunate to have incredible people throughout my journey that had great minds, passionate hearts, and it's because of them I accomplished the things I accomplished. And I still have those people around me, and that's what gives me so much confidence about the future. The other thing is, if you have a good idea, don't give up. Don't give up. I think it was baseball player Reggie Jackson who said, you can't beat a man that doesn't give up. So, and don't let anyone discourage you. Don't let anyone take your dreams away. Do what you believe you were destined to do. And nothing makes up for hard work and perseverance. So I hope this was worth your time. That's all I have to say to you. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions. But I wish you all great success. I hope every one of you accomplishes what you're trying to accomplish. So thank you. Thank you very much. I think I see a question there. Do you want me to take Q&A? Yeah, please.
Mr. Kiani, I always wanted to ask you this question. I was at Qualcomm. Sound United was my customer. And the first couple of smartwatches you did, I worked with your team. We could never figure out why Massimo would buy Sound United. Maybe you can give us your insight.
Sure, I'd be happy to. We've been working for several years hard, maybe roughly from 2009, on the consumer market, consumer health market. And when we began, we did not know if we were looking at an oasis or a mirage. But just in case it was an oasis, and it turned out to be an oasis, we wanted to be there. So as some of our products were getting closer to market, one of them being a product we called Freedom, and one of them being what we termed at the time H1, which was a true class of hearing aids, hearables, that did not look like hearing aids, we needed the distribution channel. We tried for a few years to hire people, get a president for that consumer health unit, recruit people, but it wasn't working. One of our board members who had experience with Motorola, at Welsh Allen, Hillrom, she said, Joe, if you really want to give this a chance, you gotta go buy a company that's in the consumer space. So what we liked about Sound United, which is one of the consumer companies we looked at, first of all, they had a handful of iconic brands that we thought would never go away. Marantz, Bowers & Wilkins, Denon. So we thought we're buying, I used to call it buying cereal companies, you know, I don't know, Frosted Flakes, Life Cereal, whatever you eat. When you run out, you go buy another one. They just don't go away. Secondly, this company had 20,000 distribution points around the world, built over 50 years. Third, they had a group of sales and marketing people that did everything about consumers. We also saw that they had missed the hearables market. The hearables market is big, $50 billion a year. The hearing aid market is $35 billion a year. That had been simplified due to some regulatory changes that made us want to get into it. So with all of that, and knowing the way to people's home is through music, we thought that would be the right vehicle for us to get our products into people's homes. And over the years while we did that, I was convinced it was the right move. It would have worked. Unfortunately, for reasons I'm not going to get into right now, we didn't get a chance to finish what we started, but it would have worked. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you here. You are one of our samples of entrepreneurs who really believe on our ideas. So I'm Reza Sherkat. I'm the founder of Wise IoT Solutions, and I would love to surround myself with the people better than me. So I always had a great admire for Massimo, because the bigger player tried to bully you, but you didn't give up. It's so, so strong. And I really love to put myself or surround myself with the people better than me. So our AI algorithm helping heart failure management, and we have very strong team of clinical and the data scientists that working day to day. So I would love to have you as my advisor. Thank you.
Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you so much. You got to look a little harder, but okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, I think there was a question over there.
First off, for all the founders in here and folks that have gone up against big giants, I want to acknowledge your fighter's mentality. In martial arts, yeah, seriously. In martial arts, we say, you go first. And then if I'm still standing, we say, it's my turn. And what you did with Apple and all the others that came after you was truly admirable. But with Willow Labs, you're expanding beyond Massimo's legacy of passive health monitoring into a more active role in consumer health and behavior change. How do you see integrating real-time biometrics, AI, personalized feedback, and even more difficult topic, which is personal motivation, to sustain these behavior changes that can really impact people's lives? And what lessons from Massimo's clinical success are shaping your approach at Willow Labs?
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that, and I appreciate you all being with me. But if you're using an iPhone, I recommend you look at alternatives. Until they change their behavior, and I hope they will. They're a great company. It could be a better company if they just weren't the way they are. But to answer your question, I do believe there's a big, big opportunity here to roll in AI with a lot of things that we do, to make things better. When the internet boom occurred, okay, it gave us all websites. But this is bigger. With AI, you can create predictive algorithms. You can not just look at patterns that are difficult for people to keep track of, but generate patterns quickly now with these large language-based models. With Willow, our approach, besides some of the products that I can't get into right now, the first one, Nutu, our approach, as the name would suggest in Latin, means nudge. We don't think big changes are sustainable. We think small, incremental changes are what will stick. So we're using Nutu, making it easy. We have this Nutu number that if you can keep it at 0, balance, you will achieve the goal you're looking for, whether it's to avoid prediabetes by losing 5% of your weight, or whether it's to get into better health. And we're making it easier for people to enter food, and it figures out for them what the negative score is, except if you're not eating enough. And by the way, if you don't eat enough, that's not good for you. I have a friend that uses Nutu. When he doesn't eat enough, he actually gains weight. So it works against you. You got to balance. And also keeps track of your exercise through the wearables you have, or you can enter it in, and helps nudge you using AI and other means to get you to do something sustainably. I'm not yet a fan of GLP-1 because I have not seen it used in a massive way like it's being used for 10 to 20 years to see what are the side effects, can it be sustained? But look, we've been around for 60,000 years as a civilization, and hopefully, I think much longer than that. We know what to do. We got to eat right. We got to move, exercise. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So I hope it will have an impact. That'll be our first foray with Willow to help. But there's a lot of cool things we've been working on that hopefully will come out over the next year or two, and will have an impact on people with pre and diabetes. Thank you.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So the name Massimo, my understanding is the two co-founders, their initials are there. So is that true? Or?
Yeah, my name is Massi Joe Kiani. So Massi, Mo is Muhammad. So Massimo, that's the name. We used to say it stands for Motion Artifact Solutions in Vivo Monitoring. Then one day my mom came to work and called me by my first name, and everyone figured it out. But anyway, moms do that to you. Thank you so much for your warm hospitality. Thank you.